Hello, welcome back, Steve's Corner. The day I caught a stray cat. That's the reason I'm standing out here. Now let me show y'all this real quick. You remember this. You know, the world's going so crazy lately. I figured this another little story time with Steve would probably be a little bit more appropriate, and it would kind of liven the mood a little bit, you know, with the wars we got going on, the political situation over here, and you know, we just had two bombers fly over to Alaska, one of them from Russia and one from China. I mean, things are getting sketchy again. They're trying to cripple in the White House right now, and they're trying his dumb assistant in the backside is what it is. They're trying to see what they can get away with. You know, they know that they can get away with stuff. They're pushing the envelope a little big. So I figured, hey man, time's getting a little nervous. It's time to have a little fun, right? Well, I figured I'd come up with a story. Just so happens to be a true story, but nonetheless. It's sort of like Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. And instead of being Marlon Perkins and driving the Jeep hollering at Jim, I was Jim out there wrestling the gators and stuff. But look at this here, I'll show you. I don't know how well you're gonna be able to see it, but can you see that hollow we got right there in the eave of the shed? Yeah, well, that plays into the video here. What it was, let me turn this light off. Close this door. Oh, I don't know, it's probably 15, 20 years ago, probably at least 15 years ago. Had a neighbor lived over here. She was a single mom, and she used to come out on the back porch and smoke cigarettes and talk on the phone all the daggone time. I don't know why she couldn't talk in the house, but she never did. And it was dark. It was about 8 o'clock or so at night, and she come over here and said she heard a cat in our shed. I says, well, I'll go out there and look for him and see if I can't find him. And she says, listen, if you find him, you know, I'll get him. I ain't scared of him or nothing. I'll, you know, keep him for a pet for her little kid. Well, so I went out to search. You could hear him in there. About 20, 30 minutes, I was looking all over that shed. You could hear his butt. But I finally found him, and that's where he was at. He was up in that daggone cubby hole in that eave of the shed there. He was real weak, real weak. He looked like he was about ready to kick off, you know. He just didn't look healthy. And he'd meow like that. So I went over there and got her. I said, hey man, come on over and get him if you want him. Because I wasn't about to touch him. He was a stray. I didn't know nothing about him. You know, and he just didn't look healthy. No telling how long he'd been locked up in that shed. Because at one time I kept a push mower in it. And it was you know, I only pulled it out once a week, so it could have been 2 or 3 days he'd been up in there without food or anything. I didn't know he was in there. Never would have unless she'd come over. So I got the step stool out, and she still climbed up there to reach to grab a hold of that sucker, you know. He'd give a little, you know, cat meow, but it was more of an angry type. You can tell difference in their voices, you know, when they're ready to stretch out and get you, you know. So she got spooked, and she come down. And I said, I'll get him out of there. She said, don't kill him. I said, I ain't going to kill him. I just want to get him out of here, because if he died up there, we'd had a lot of trouble. It just smelled. I had to get that carcass out and everything, man. Might even brought snakes or something in, man. I didn't want that. So I got me a piece of pipe, copper pipe, like water pipe, probably about 4 foot long. Was about a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch round, you know. And I fed a piece of daggone clothesline down there. It's real thin wire and it's plastic coated, you know. And I made me a snare out that sucker. So I went in there to get him out of there, and he allowed me to lay that noose right across his head. Didn't give me no problem. But when I cinched that sucker tight and caught him, man, I had a fight on my hands. He'd give that pipe all he had, man. He was tearing that pipe all to pieces. I mean, he come alive, Doc. But anyways, I got him out the shed, and then I got scared. I said, man, how am I gonna let this sucker loose? Because if I loosen that daggone noose, man, he's only gonna be a couple of feet from me. I said, I ain't want no parts of him. If he'd have treated my daggone arm or leg like he treated that pipe, I'd have had a bloody nub here, you know? So I got this idea, hey man, I'll sling it like a daggone baseball bat. And when I do, I'll let go of this end of the noose and he'll sling out from it, you know. So I told the baby, she was out here watching me. I guess she was ready to call the ambulance, I guess. But I told her to get up on the deck. I said, you get up yonder, because when she lets go, I don't know what's going to happen. So I slung that thing. I slung him, and I got right about here, and I let go of my end of the thing. And he got hung up because he was still fighting that pole. And he slung out from that sucker, but he went over my head and landed back over near my neighbor's yard, about 8 foot from me. And he hit the ground, and he was flat getting it, Doc. He realized he was out of there and out of that noose. And I reared that daggone pipe back. And by the time I got it back where I needed, he come right by me. Skidded on down around my neighbor's yard here. Skidded on down around that fence line and just took off. I ain't seen him since. Man, I got a little nervous when that sucker, when he landed and he was facing right at me. Man, I said, man, I said, this is over with for Steve. But that was the day I called a stray cat. I wasn't about to grab a hold of him. You don't touch them stray cats or dogs, any of that stuff, man. I could have put some food down in the shed there and let him come down to it, but he didn't look like he was going to be able to make it down there. You know, he got up in that hole. I don't know if he got caught up in that hole or he just found a place to lay down, and that was it. He was going to stay right there. I was afraid he wasn't healthy enough to get down there. He was weak, real weak, until I sensed that noose on him. I sensed that noose on his butt, Doc. He come alive. But anyways, we'll get up here. Let's take a walk out back. We got a family of hawks out here. The best I can tell is it's red-shouldered hawks. They're young, the ones I see. I ain't seen the adult ones yet. And I got me a little video of them, but it's hard to see, man. And I'm close to them. This camera ain't very good for doing stuff like that. But I was out here on the edge of the garden here. And I don't know if you can see right here where the bend in this fence is. Tree limb hit my neighbor's fence one year. I bent it out the best I could, but it's right over here in front of this big tree. There's a little white blob on that. I made a little short out of it. You can see him sitting there, but it's just a daggone white blob. You can't really see a whole lot until he takes off and flies up into them trees up yonder. But they got a nest, I believe it's across the road over yonder. And there'll be 2 or 3 of them out here from time to time. They land on, you can't see it, but there's a clothesline post right there. They'll land on that there. And then they'll come over here and sit on this fence line. So, but I might, if I feel like it, I'll post that thing. I made a little short out of it. He's just sitting there for about 30 seconds and he flies off, and I follow him through the woods. It's like living out in the Serengeti, I guess, out here. But hey, man, y'all take care of yourselves. You enjoy your weekend, man. It's gonna be a beautiful one down here. And we'll talk to y'all later.